The Magic Paintbrush. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by rolling hills and sparkling streams, there lived a young girl named Lila. Lila loved to draw more than anything else in the world. She didn't have fancy art supplies, just a piece of charcoal and scraps of paper she found here and there, but her drawings were magical. They felt alive. Her birds seemed ready to fly off the page, and her flowers looked as though they could bloom at any moment. One sunny morning, while wandering in the woods near her village, Lila found something unusual on the ground. It was a golden paintbrush. Its bristles gleamed in the sunlight, and the handle circled with tiny jewels. Lila picked it up carefully. It felt warm in her hand. Curious, she returned to her favorite rock by the stream and decided to try it out. She dipped the paintbrush into the clear water and drew a simple butterfly on the stone. To her amazement, the butterfly fluttered its wings and flew away. "This paintbrush is magic," she whispered, her eyes wide. Excited, Lila began to paint more. She painted fish in the stream, which came to life and swam joyfully. She painted flowers in the fields, which grew tall and bright. Soon her village began to notice the wonderful things she created. "Can you paint food for us, Lila?" asked Mr. Baker, whose bread supply had run out. Lila painted baskets of golden bread, and they became real. The baker was overjoyed. "Could you paint a warm blanket for my baby?" asked Mrs. Finch, who was poor and cold. Lila painted a soft, colorful quilt, and it wrapped itself around the baby like a hug. Word spread quickly about Lila's magic paintbrush, and soon people from faraway towns came to ask for her help. She painted houses for the homeless, wells for villages without water, and fields full of crops for hungry farmers. Lila was happy to help, but she was careful only to paint what people truly needed. One day, a greedy man named Baron Grizzle heard about Lila's paintbrush. He was a rich and powerful man, but never satisfied. He wanted gold, jewels, and treasures beyond imagination. He ordered his guards to bring Lila to his castle. "Paint me a mountain of gold," the Baron demanded, his eyes glittering with greed. Lila shook her head. "The paintbrush is for helping people, not for greed." The Baron grew angry. "If you won't paint it, I'll lock you in the tower until you do." Lila thought for a moment and then nodded. "Very well, I will paint for you." She took out her paintbrush and began to paint on the castle's stone floor. First, she painted a small pond. Then she added reeds and a boat. The Baron watched eagerly. "What is this nonsense? I asked for gold," he shouted. But Lila ignored him. She kept painting until the boat looked so real it almost seemed to move. Suddenly, with a swoosh, the boat grew larger, and the pond turned into a great lake. Before the Baron could understand what was happening, the boat pulled him in. "Wait! Stop!" he cried, but it was too late. The greedy Baron found himself paddling far, far away, trapped on the magical lake. The villagers cheered when Lila returned and told them what had happened. From that day on, Lila used her magic paintbrush to bring joy and hope to everyone around her. She taught the villagers to share and care for one another, and the village became a happy place full of kindness and creativity. And as for the Baron, well, let's just say he learned that no amount of gold could compare to a kind heart.